Hello, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. My name is Travis. My pronouns are he and
Hello,
they,
everyone.
and
Welcome to Twitch.
Will be your story guide for tonight as we are playing Scion Dragon. I apologize if there's a little bit of audio strangeness up front. I am juggling some fires, but I think I've got them all put out. If the chat would be so kind as to let me know if there is still any weird looping or any bizarre stuff happening, I would appreciate it. But until then, we're going to just proceed like everything is okay. In order to do so, let's do a couple of introductions real quick. I am joined by this lovely cast who will be playing Live by the Blade, the Jumpstart for Scion Dragon, and just going up and then over from where I'm sitting. First up, we have Kevin. If you could please tell us who you are, what you do, your pronouns, who you're playing, their pronouns, and anything that you would like to promote.
Hi, I'm Kevin Zarnicki. He, him. Yeah, I haven't even come up with a name for this character because the pre-gen is Fatima Villarreal. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And frankly, I'm just not comfortable playing a woman of color because I haven't lived that experience at all.
That's fair.
That feels appropriate. So yeah, I'll have a name before we start. This will be my first real experience with Scion, let alone dragons. So do be gentle. As for me and what I do, voice actor, game designer, a bunch of slacker careers that everybody claims to be now. So that doesn't mean a thing to any of you. But yeah, that's I'm here because I love Travis, and this is a good crew.
Well, I love you right back, and I appreciate you being here. Next up, that brings us to Crow. Crow, your pertinent details, please.
Hi, I'm Crow. He, it. I know. I stream with Blank Slate. I do a lot of the random doobly-doo streamer marketing, other SEO words that you find on LinkedIn stuff. I am playing Ball Gun at KOD. And yeah, and I'm just here because I love hanging out with Onyx Path, and I can't wait to possibly do more stuff. So it's going to be fun.
Well, I too love having you here, and I also want to thank you and point out, because this doesn't get celebrated enough in the moment, Crow is one of our diehard tech folk for Onyx PathCon. That con is a technical... it's a Sisyphean task to run that convention, and so I really appreciate all the tech people that make it doable. We would not be able to do it without your assistance. So, in case I haven't had a chance to do it publicly, Crow, thank you so much for your help with that.
Thank you.
I really, believe me, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I really appreciate it. And that last but not least, Haley, I haven't seen you in far too long. Please give us your pertinent detail.
Been a while, yeah. My name's Haley, also known as Babe_Blade666 on the internet. And I like to do cosplays and play different games. And I'm just so happy that my two favorite DMs are in the same table as me, and that being Crow and Travis. And it's been a while since I played a game online, so I'm very happy to get going and get to it. I never played Scion before, so...
Well, this is going to be great because Live by the Blade, as I mentioned, is the Jumpstart. So this is kind of the experience that people might first encounter Scion through. So I will do my best to make sure that we convey that in a wonderful, beautiful, fun way so everybody runs right out and picks up not only Live by the Blade, but all of the Scion books. And I'm going to give you a couple ways to do that. First of all, Live by the Blade, the one we're running through right now, I just threw the link to that up in the chat. We also have a very cool Indiegogo campaign going on right now that is pertinent. We are doing our reprint repro agogo. We're reprinting Scion Origin, Trinity Continuum Core, and Trinity Continuum Aeon. The Origin reprint will encompass and incorporate the existing errata for Scion, which will be super handy for folks. So even if you already have Scion Origin, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and snatch this one up as well. And I think I know there's some corrections being worked into the other books as well. And I know that on the table are some stretch goals, like possibly getting Trinity Continuum Assassins in a traditional print, or like Saints and Monsters for Scion. So head over to that Indiegogo, check it out, pick up some of those reprints. Be advised, if you are backing a thing on Indiegogo, it does work differently than our other platforms in that it charges you up front. Also be advised that when you go to back something on Indiegogo, they put a tip in there that you have to remove if you don't want to tip them. Though, I mean, you should consider tipping them if you can afford to do so, because they do provide a nice service. There was something else very important I was supposed to tell you, and I totally flaked on what it was, so I guess it wasn't that important. Let me check my email. I'm also stalling for time so that Kevin has time to rename his character.
Let's go with Fabian Reese.
Beautiful.
I'll keep it close with the Fs. I looked up male F names, and if you don't want to be Frank, and I've watched too much Hellraiser to ever want to be Frank.
No, it's not good.
We'll just go with Fabian. This is a one shot. I don't have to live with this guy.
That's fair enough. So go ahead. What was that?
Yeah, my character's name's she's like an astrologer, Michaela Chen, but maybe I'm adopted.
Fair enough.
We'll do that.
and I'm sorry if I cut you off before you had a chance to say that. I'm juggling 20 flaming knives and not thinking straight, so I apologize if I did.
Well, you make it look easy for what it's worth.
Thanks.
I know it's not, but it's real graceful the way you do it.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the illusion of grace.
That's all any of us have, man. Don't let them fool you into thinking anybody's got their stuff together in this day and age.
That is absolutely fair. Other things I want to make sure that everybody knows before we dive into the story, we have some Chronicles of Darkness screens on discount over at Indie Press Revolution. I've thrown that link in the chat. And as you see on the screen, we are playing on Roll20. We're using the Scion rules that are available on Roll20. And we now are offering PDF and Roll20 bundles over at Drive-Thru. So you can get the whole thing bundled together right at Drive-Thru RPG. And I'll throw that link up in the chat as well. I think the bills are paid for this point, so we can dive into our story. As mentioned before, you're all playing dragons. This is a subset of Scion, where rather than being in sort of vanilla Scion, you play the descendant of a god, whether that be the actual, like, your dad was a god and your mom wasn't, or could be an incarnation of a god, where the god just said, I'm going to make a new person, and that's going to be my incarnate Scion. Or it could be like a chosen thing, where the god says, I like you a lot, you're going to be my new kid. Those are all options for regular Scions. With Dragon, works a little differently. You are a Draconic Heir. You have a connection back to an ancient dragon. You are able to access some of the memories of that dragon. The dragons believe that they were kind of here first, and gods and titans showed up later and messed everything up for everybody. And so they kind of generally run what you might call like a shadow war or a cold war among those groups, trying to reclaim the bits that belong to them and eventually, hopefully, reclaim the power and glory that they had in the early days of creation. Most often, the heirs, particularly at the level that we are at, which is a kind of a similar tier to hero characters for Scion, don't deal directly with their dragons very often. They're often processed through what's called a handler, which is often another heir who is closer to that dragon or closer to a dragon, who offers some work assignments, things along those lines. However, in Live by the Blade, things are a little different in the sense that each of your heirs has been approached by a Scion, by a regular Scion of one of the gods, who is invited each of you to join him at his private library, which is located in a terra incognita that you can access through the Smithsonian in DC. There is a particular scroll that you have been told to meet at that scroll at noon, and to interact with it to gain access to this heirs, or this Scion's personal domicile. The Scion in question is a fellow by the name of Ramon Hernandez. He is referred to in sort of the shadowy circles in the know as the archivist. And basically what he has given you to entice you here is just kind of a declaration that there is a very important artifact that is in peril, and he would like your aid in acquiring and preserving that artifact. Is there anything, and we'll just go around backwards with folk in the reverse order of which I introduced you, to say, is there anything that you would like to do in preparation for this meeting before you head to the Smithsonian? Any plans or things you'd like to check out, or ideas that you would like to pursue prior to the meeting? And we'll start with Michaela.
I don't know, maybe like a few visions or something. She's very good at telling the future and telling horoscopes and stuff, so she probably thought and prepared beforehand on what kind of person she's meeting with.
All right, so you want to do a little bit of sort of, I guess, like reading the charts, reading the stars, and seeing if there's anything that you should be aware of or worried about. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Yeah, she's probably reading this person before she even meets them as to what kind of information they'll bring, or if they're trustworthy, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, you do have a couple of ways you can approach this. If you want to just kind of do like a basic like astrological chart to sort of get a feel for what's going on,
Okay.
I would allow you to do that. I'd let you make like I would say probably an occult plus maybe cunning roll.
Okay.
And if you'd like to do that, if you go onto your sheet, you should be able to just click the occult, possibly the die next to the occult on the sheet, and it should bring up a prompt to ask you like what to roll it with.
Oh, I don't know if I see my character sheet.
Okay, it should be, if you look across the top of your chat in Roll20, you should see a what looks like a little book, the icon, and if you hover over it, it should say journal. And if you click on that journal, it should give you your sheet.
I see. It's been a while since I used Roll20, so thank you.
No problem. No problem. So you can make that occult plus intellect roll.
All right. So roll over occult, I guess?
Yeah, if you click on occult, it should then prompt to ask you what attribute you want to roll with.
Intellect?
Yep, I would say probably cunning, but intellect could work too if you would rather lean on that.
Mid. Yeah. Did it roll?
Let's see. Am I seeing a roll result? I am. Yep, absolutely. It showed up in the chat. So it looks like we've got a total of 3 successes. It should give you the specific results, and the number of successes will show up in the chat. So what I'll do, just to kind of reflect your foreknowledge of the event, I'm going to give you your successes in a floating enhancement. So basically, you have 3 points of enhancement that you can drop on any roll. You can even add that once the dice have been rolled, as long as there's a success, until you've spent them all. So just kind of make a note, keep track. You have 3 enhancement kind of floating around. You also do have, you have a spell called Fortune's Favor, which allows you to gain +3 enhancement to all chance situations and take no harm from random dangers. This immunity extends to non-magical dangerous terrain unless a character in the scene actively created that peril with the intent to harm someone. In that case, you'd face any normal complications the peril would impose. You can also choose to imbue an inheritance to apply your enhancement as beginner's luck. Basically, any time that you try an action where you have 0 skill dots and no relevant specialization, you can imbue one of your inheritance, which on your sheet is marked as legend because the dragon update hasn't rolled out for Roll20 yet. That would allow you to claim that sort of +3 enhancement on a skill you have no dots in, which normally you can't claim enhancement on. Make sense? I know I'm shotgunning a lot of information at you, so feel free to ask if you have questions.
I don't feel like there's any danger. I think she just wants to show off because she's a Leo sun and she wants to know what's going to happen before it happens. So we'll just go with that dice roll there.
Sounds solid. How about for Balagan? Did Balagan have any preparatory activities prior to showing up here at the Smithsonian?
Balian has probably kind of staked out the place in his own way. The artist that he is has probably donated a few things here and there and just probably alchemated himself with like the more capitalistic, we love to donate our money to these things to avoid taxes sort of dealing. So he's been making his rounds, trying to find the secrets in and out, try to imprint himself in everyone's mind in some certain type of way.
Okay, so just sort of, I guess, flexing that accrued influence a bit, or preparing to flex that accrued influence a bit?
Preparing to, making sure that, like, they know who he is. So when he comes through here, he has access to wherever he needs to go.
For sure. And that absolutely works. You're clearly able to navigate your way relatively unbothered into the Smithsonian, to the area where the scroll is that you're intended to access. You're given no difficulty whatsoever, and in fact, the security there sort of just assumes that the rest of the brood, your dragon buddies, are all with you, and give them the same access. And then, speaking of the last member of the brood, what is... you told me the name. I forgot the name already. What was it?
We'll go with Fabian.
Fabian, thank you.
First name, the last name, and the nationality will not match remotely.
I'm going to just go ahead and change that on your sheet so I don't forget. So it was Fabian. What was the last name?
Reese.
Reese.
Which I'm learning now is Welsh.
Like Kyle Reese? Like the Terminators?
Dun 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 dun.
Awesome. Rock and roll. So is Fabian doing anything before heading to the meeting?
Well, looking over at my example ready-made character, I can see that the character is in fact a social and hacker type. So I'm going to do my research ahead of time with net deep dives.
Excellent. In that case, go ahead and give me like I would say maybe technology or enigmas.
So I do that with Roll20, which I have no idea how to use.
All right. So
that's my fault.
No worries. Open your character sheet.
Right.
You'll see your skills there. Click on the die next to the skill you need to roll. You should be prompted to add any to add which tribute you want, and then it should also ask if you have any enhancement on the roll. In and of itself, I don't think I'm going to grant any enhancement on this roll just off the top, but if you had some, you would enter it there, and then you'll just go ahead and hit roll, and it should populate in the chat.
Oh, now I see. I think there we go. No, I just got to figure out how that works because I am 100% a noob. Where's my character? There he is. Okay. Beep boop. And so you just click the little thing next to it, or you click the die, or
click the little die, and it should pop up. I do believe.
All right. You wanted me to do that with computers, or what's the?
Should be technology or enigmas, I would think, right?
Hacking. There we go. I would love to roll intellect. No additional dice, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no enhancement.
That's a lot of double checks. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they really want to make sure you don't mess the roll up, apparently. So you got 3 successes, not too bad. What you learn is that Ramon Hernandez, also known as the Archivist, is a demigod tier Scion of Jehudi. You know that he's a 5'9", bald, heavyset Latino man with a chin-strap beard. You know that he prefers dressing in extreme finery. Everything is custom tailored from very expensive fashion houses. Wears a fedora pretty much constantly and is very, one might say, obsessed with the acquisition and discussion of knowledge. He has been known to spend, days sitting around just talking about like thoughts on a 2-page paper that somebody had published about a historical topic that maybe caught his attention. Sort of renowned in so much as communities that are familiar with Scions on that level, is kind of renowned as a lover of history. Also makes sense given that his divine parent is effectively a god of knowledge. So,
is this? Are we talking somebody who really likes books and eschews technology, or are we talking somebody who hits up the supernatural message boards?
They are far more hard copy oriented, though they've been known to make their presence known online. They're certainly not primarily there. No.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I've just done my due diligence, and beyond that, I'm not going to go with infiltrating or anything like that. We'll just, I guess I will, can I make an academics library science roll to see if I can prepare some appropriate talking points to impress them?
Sure. Yeah. I'll let you go ahead and, so you just roll your academics intellect.
Library science specialization means additional dice?
No. So specialties work a little bit differently in Scion than they do in other games. Your specialties are cooperative. So if you're making an Enigmas roll where your knowledge of library would come into play, you would get an you get an enhancement on it. So the specialties enhance skills other than the skill that they're in.
I'm hoping my ignorance is educational for our audience.
I'm certain it is. It is educational for all of us, even for me, because it reminds me of some of the finer points of the system. So yeah, like the example I often use is if you have a pistol specialty in aim, right? Or in this case, in Scion, I believe it's firearms. And full disclosure for the audience, forgive me if I accidentally spit out Trinity terms and then correct myself. I run way more Trinity than Scion. But let's say you have a pistol specialization in firearms. That's not going to help you shoot better, but what it will help you do is if you're studying a crime scene and you're trying to determine what kind of weapon was used, that specialization will help. Make sense?
I think so. We'll catch as catch can, but that's a good foundation to work with.
Sweet. All right. So having done that, so let's get that roll. I would say academics, intellect. You would have probably no enhancement on this inherently, but we will treat your successes that roll out, which in this case was 3. We'll treat that also as a floating pool of enhancement that you can use on social roles, specifically with the archivist.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Rock and roll. To that end, you all make your way to the Smithsonian at the stroke of noon. You make your way to this scroll that you've been directed to. The scroll is under lock and key. However, thanks to Balgan's influence, it's basically opened up and left for you to directly peruse. And then the security guard kind of leaves and gives you the room. You all know well enough that this is activated simply by touching the actual scroll, which generally is not a hazard in the museums. It's normally under lock and key. You're free to interact with one another or to just say, let's dive in. It's up to you.
Do dragons know each other on sight? Do we get like the Highlander shoo, shoo, shoo feeling?
We are going to assume that you are members of a brood. A brood of dragons is generally, a group that works together. In the case of Draconic Heirs, sometimes that you might not see your broodmates for years. You might, depending on how social you are. But you definitely are all familiar with one another.
Weirdly enough, Balgan has coordinated his outfit to match both of y'all's. From colors to cut to like the finery. It's weird that he understands both aesthetics and makes it perfect and just looks at the two of you. You didn't dress up for this.
I'm not
Black
used.
and gold, how'd you know?
I'm not
So
used to
observant as always.
experiencing things through reality is a little bit too much like hard copy for me. It's we'll ditch the we'll say he goes by Reese more often than Fabian. If only because it sounds like Fabio, and who wants that association? God, I'm showing my age. My dude's got just a flopped over haircut that would have made sense when dubstep was like impressive.
Nice.
The dark violet dyed hair, just black hoodie, black cargo pants, black on black on black. Just looks like the kind of person who probably has spray cans in that backpack. Just waiting for that protest.
I love it.
Looks so much like a hacker trying to look anonymous that it's no longer anonymous.
Dig the vibe.
Michaela's the opposite. She's very much trying to look trendy and like fit in with the youth of today. She's like a prominent TikTok star that tells horoscopes so people know what's ahead for them. So she's, mostly in gold and black and different like sun and moon kind of attire, but it is matching Crow's character, and she's surprised by that, and she's just very stunned that he can tell like what to wear to match everyone.
I'm a little curious, Crow. How do you compromise these?
Listen, as you get on in years and understand how fashion and society and social work, I can coordinate my colors, my suits, and even your... I'm guessing you're still listening to Skrillex these days, aren't you?
Only the soundtrack to Syndicate.
And with that, he's just going to touch the scroll. He's just going to like dead fish eye stare after hearing that and just tap on it.
Nice. The moment that you touch the scroll, it begins to glow, but any effect seems to linger, waiting for the touch of your companions.
Hesitant look to the other two and extend hand and touch as well.
Excellent. You immediately feel reality sort of spin around you. There's no flash. There's no real like remarkable occurrence. You just simply are elsewhere. And when you arrive in that elsewhere location, you see before you several stacks of books, kind of scattered about the area, and a table with a set of chairs sitting out in front of it. The man sitting at the head of the table, based on your previous experiences, your research, and in Balgan's case, a previous meeting, you recognize as the archivist. Thank you so much for joining me. Please come in and have a seat. I cannot express my appreciation for your attention in this matter adequately. I am attempting to salvage an extremely important artifact that has fallen into the grasp of a dragon by the name of Kazim Azizi. At the moment, the artifact, which is the Sword of Damocles, is in the hands of a courier, one of Kazim Azizi's heirs, as far as I know. And is in the process of being transported to Kazim Azizi's private lair. The hope that I have is that you will be able to intercept that parcel, prevent it from being placed in the dragon's lair. Kazim Azizi, in particular, is a member of the Joka and has a penchant for devouring items that are important to history, therefore wiping away details from their accumulated lore. I shudder to think what would happen if he were able to devour the Sword of Damocles.
Question. Logan, does he know anything about Mr. Does he know anything about this individual socially, even possibly other rumors that might suggest any strangeness about this person?
About the archivist in particular?
Not the archivist, Mr. Azizi.
Oh, the Kazim Azizi?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and give me, you got a cult?
Let me see. Do I have a code?
I mean, Haley would, right?
Yar.
Indeed.
I don't have any occult.
Astrology in it as well.
All right, so you have a couple of ways you can go with this. You can make an occult check. You don't have a cult, so chances of you know anything is fairly slim. Alternatively, one of the big sort of PowerPoints or touchstones of dragons is your ability to access draconic memory. You can take yourself back to earlier incarnations and remember events that involve those incarnations. It's the type of thing you can generally only do once a session. But in doing so, there are benefits and drawbacks, of course, to doing it. But you can wind up with grand insights about things that you wouldn't otherwise have. That is an option that you have. Alternatively, you can just rely on like what skill knowledge you possess and let Michaela make that roll. It's up to you.
Sounds kind of like the bloodline memories in Werewolf.
Yeah.
I suppose somewhat similar. Yeah, I'm less familiar with that, but basic idea is that like having a past life kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
I think in that moment, then he's just gonna copy down like important names, important figures, and gracefully he's taking notes as if he's not really paying attention, but he's definitely paying attention, and he's been sending his hacker compatriot special notes, names. If he ever picks up on any names, he just texts that over.
And by hacker compatriot, do you mean Reese or do you mean a contact
Reese?
of yours? Beautiful. Just want to make sure I'm processing everything appropriately.
Yeah.
So did you want to make an occult roll for Michaela, Haley?
Sure.
All right, rock and roll. This will be standard. You'll have no base enhancement, but if you want to, again, you have that 3 enhancement that you can sack at any point throughout this. So if you wanted to throw 1 or 2 of it at this, you can. You can also hold on to them for later.
I'll happily throw a die at this.
Oh, yours are specifically for social, right? So
I thought so, but
yeah. No, I was referring to that Michaela did the read at the beginning. So she's got that 3 enhancement that she can kind of drop wherever.
Gotcha. Sorry.
No worries.
Occult and
I would say intellect probably in this case.
all right. And 3 and 0 additional dice.
It's up to you. If you want to add enhancements, you can do a 1 to 3 because you have 3 in total. Just whatever you use, you spend from that pool.
And when the scene's over, these enhancements are just going to discard that.
Yours
do
will.
2.
Hers go to the whole. Hers are for the rest of the session. She did the,
Oh.
yours are just social. And if you don't spend any of yours, Kevin, that you've banked up, if there's a future scene where you have a social interaction with the archivist, you would be able to still tap them then.
Okay, it's contextually appropriate. I dig.
Yep. Yeah.
I see Crow's character give me a look, and then I'm just like, all right, let me discern what this guy's about. And I put 2 additional dice.
Excellent.
Did I roll it?
Yep. So go ahead and hit roll.
I think I rolled it.
Yep, it's popping in. All right. So for some reason, it ran your 2 extra dice as extra dice. It ran them as extra dice, not as enhancement. I'll have to look and see if I can sort out why it did that. But those aren't, when you get enhancements, those are not dice you roll. Those are straight up like auto successes if you succeed, right?
Right.
So no worries. So you got 2 on the dice and then 2 more. So that's for a total of 4 successes. Good roll. You know that Kazim Azizi is a Joka of great infamy, in the sense that as much as a dragon can be infamous anyway, oftentimes through various levels of mystical manipulation, their identities are secret. But Kazim Azizi is well known. They go by a number of sort of titles, including the History Gorger, the Flame of Forgetting, and the Lath Maw. Their particular hunger centers around actual history, knowledge, memory, and information. So whereas some dragons might hunger for, gold, or some might hunger for revenge, or some might hunger for even like the flesh of certain beasts, this particular dragon eats information. It eats knowledge.
Oh dear.
Now, we do not have hungers as well, because we're not like proper dragony dragons at this time, right?
You have very, very baby hungers. Those can be manifested in like terms of like when you take a memory condition, those can come up.
Right.
So, but at the moment, no, they don't really start becoming an issue for dragons until your inheritance gets a little higher.
And then it's time to roll up a dragon slaying dragon because we're obviously a threat.
Right, precisely. So you're welcome to share that information if you like, by whatever means you would like.
Perhaps after the meeting.
Okay. In that case, the archivist says, I would like you to try to intercept the sword before it makes its way to the dragon's lair. However, I do know roughly where the dragon's lair is. I'm not quite sure how to access it. But Kazim Azizi makes his lair in the burnt out ruin of the library at Alexandria. I do know it's been moved from Alexandria, but I do not know to where.
All right, out of character question, and my understanding of Scion is about as displaced as my vision right now.
Sure, fair enough.
So in Scion, it's standard known that gods exist.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Gods, Scions and their gods and whatnot will have a social media presence, for example.
I have endless questions about how does that setting still look like this world? But putting that aside, do dragons operate with the same kind of awareness, or do we have kind of a personal masquerade going on?
Dragons are.
Tell I'm a vampire player.
Right. No, yeah, dragons are much more on the DL normally. They're secretive by the nature of their work because it's much more infiltration, spies. Again, if you consider it to draw a parallel, where the dragons fit in the Titanomachy in the ongoing war between the gods and the Titans is they are kind of a shadow agency that sort of deals with and against both factions. So secretive, being secretive is kind of part of the dragon experience. This is more out of practicality for completing their tasks than it is out of any sort of like fear of gods or titans. It's more like it's easier for me to do my shit when you don't know what I'm doing than any like that's the main drive of their secrecy.
Gotcha. I'm really glad I know Shadowrun as well as I do then, because this is fitting.
There are some parallels. This is very much a you're given a run, you're given a heist, you're given an assignment, usually by your handler, and you go off and you do that assignment. So
I'll speak up to the archivist then. And I assume you're not sending one of your very popular scions because you don't want to worry about some kind of internal public relations problem.
I'm sending a group of dragon heirs because I feel that you are more well suited to the task of retrieving this with as little bloodshed as possible than perhaps some of my cousins might be.
Oh, and better if blood is shed that it be by our own kind. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there is the added benefit of not kicking off a hot war. Yes, I certainly do not want to drag my pantheon into a direct confrontation. Also, being perfectly candid with you, I have attained a level in my journey where my direct action can be perilous. It is safer for all concerned if I act through intermediaries.
While Reese is asking questions, is there like an insight check? I know.
Empathy, maybe?
Yeah, you can make an empathy check if you want to. Absolutely. Like empathy cunning might be a good way.
Empathy, cunning. I don't have empathy, but I do have cunning.
All right. Another thing you might want to lean on is integrity.
Yes, I definitely have integrity.
Because integrity is kind of just your ability to hold your psychic shit together. And one might argue, one of the things that, to just get into some core base design assumptions of StoryPath, the base assumption is that you are a hero who is good at what you do. So if there's a route on your character sheet toward the outcome you're looking for, if you can justify that route, that role is good. Right. You probably have a harder time talking me into how firearms would help you in this situation, for example. But like integrity makes sense. So like
Be the rest of what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
So integrity, cunning, because I'm trying to. It's not that I'm trying to suss out the emotion of this, more of the intention,
motivation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Go for it. So as I said before, you'll click your the die next to your integrity. It should prompt you to ask for which attribute, and that would be your cunning.
Yep.
And then go ahead and give it a roll. You wouldn't have any enhancement for this, so
Nope.
no bonus dice, no enhancement.
Yeah. Ooh, 3 successes.
Not too shabby.
2s and 3s so far. I could stand with this being a trend.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad if that persisted. So impression-wise, you get the sense that the archivist is genuinely worried about the Sword of Damocles. And you can tell when he speaks of not wanting to get directly involved, of his reticence to that is genuine. One thing that you will note, just as being a person who lives in the world of Scion, is that the higher up somebody tends to go in their godly being, the less involved they tend to be in mortal affairs. It would suffice. I would say it's probably reasonable that any Draconic heir would understand the base idea of fate binding as Scions experience it. You probably don't understand the nuances of it very well, but you do understand that the more powerful a divine or titanic entity is, and the more they kind of fuck with normal shit, the more they get caught up in that normal shit, and the way that their believers perceive them can actually affect their being. So, like, if a Scion sticks their nose in a certain type of conflict too often, they start being compelled to stick their nose in all of those conflicts, right?
Sort of attuned to your thing.
Right. The more you act in a certain capacity, the more that becomes a part of who you are, and the more you are beholden to it. So to that end, as Scions grow more powerful, they tend to act more through intermediaries, which then results in creating more Scions.
He makes a note of that. Just keep smiling while this is going on.
So yeah, at this point, there's no you're not detecting anything that you would qualify as duplicity. He doesn't seem like he's playing his cards close to the vest or anything about this. His concern for the sword is definitely real, and his concern for getting his particular fingerprints on the situation is also pretty real.
Ambiguity aside, what exactly do you think would happen if the Sword of Damocles was consumed?
Well, I don't know for certain. What I do know is that when the History Gorger devours something, it is not fully lost. Remnants of it remain. One example I know from previous research is that the Flame of Forgetting consumed Greek fire, which is why we do not know how it is created.
Seems to me that's a net gain for society. Some things are better forgotten.
I would disagree on that point. I think some knowledge is best protected, but forgotten is entirely different. And my aim is to retrieve the Sword of Damocles and see to it is guarded, it is protected, it is put somewhere where it will remain safe. If it is devoured by the Laith Maw, we do not know what exactly will come of it. We don't know what parts of that legend may be lost. We don't know the ramifications of any of these important artifacts being consumed or bad. But this one, frankly, I had the opportunity to prevent, so I'm inclined to do so. Tell me, are you all familiar with the sword?
In metaphor.
That's some dabbling.
The basic story goes that when Damocles exclaimed to Dionysus II of Syracuse that his life as king must be easy and wonderful, the king offered Damocles his power for a day. Damocles accepted, but as he sat on the throne, he noticed a sword hung above, suspended by a single horsehair. Dionysus had the sword placed as a perpetual reminder of the danger that comes along with that station. Damocles, upon noticing the sword, begged to return the wealth and fortune because he felt the potential price for wielding it was too great. The risk was too much. That story and the permutations of it exist throughout humanity to caution against irresponsible use of power. Now, as you look around the world, clearly you can see plenty of people don't heed that warning, but I shudder to think how much worse things might be if that warning were absent.
Very well.
Excellent.
Then I assume you've arranged some kind of transportation for us.
Yes, I can get you to where I expect you'll be able to intercept the courier. The sword is currently in the possession of a woman by the name of Sky Sokolov. Sky is on her way to Mogadishu, last I knew, where she is to catch a connecting flight to Puntland. I can get you a flight from here to Mogadishu that will put you there prior to Sokolov's arrival, giving you a little time. I received this information from a political fixer and consultant by the name of Rosamine Dela Cruz. I've worked with her in the past to help me navigate sticky political situations, and I trust her judgment. I trust her tips. She informed me that when the sword was stolen recently from its place in Casablanca, that it had been passed along to Ms. Sokolov.
Can I make a persuasion roll to see if I can wheedle some more assistance out of him?
Certainly. Go ahead and give me that persuasion. What attribute would you like to pair that with?
Take a look really quick. I guess I'll go with manipulation.
Okay, excellent. And do you want to spend any of that enhancement that you stacked up?
All of it.
Excellent. So you'd be at, it should prompt you for additional dice, which would be 0, and then it should prompt you for enhancement, which would be 3.
Cool. Bleep bloop. Only one success. I'll role play it out standoffishly then.
Well, but again, because you have the enhancement, once you get that material success, those enhancements stack. So you now have 4 successes.
Oh, okay, that's how it
Makes
works.
sense. Yeah.
I dig.
Yeah. As long as you get a material success, your enhancements apply.
So you're not buying more dice; you're buying more success with your preparation.
Correct.
Neat.
Yep.
Okay.
But if you fail that roll or botch the roll, that enhancement doesn't apply. Right.
Sure.
So it's not like a guaranteed success. It's just making you, when you do succeed, you succeed better.
I like it. Well, one assumes with the extraordinary powers that Scions are known for having and the extravagant nature of this mission, I assume you can offer us more assistance than that.
By way of assistance, if you mean information, I can certainly provide some. Is there something specific you're looking for, or are you just looking to know more about your quarry?
Oh, material assistance would be most appreciated.
In what sense? I can offer you a flight. Do you need support, backup, weaponry, money? What is it you need?
I look to the others like, I just opened the toy box. What do you want from it?
You're one that consumes information. Give us everything you have. Go on.
Everything I have about what? I don't consume information. I collect information.
Well, there must be more you're not telling us.
There's ample. As far as things that are pertinent to you, in case I did not mention, I do suspect that Sokolov is a Draconic Heir. I am not certain who her Draconic parent is, but given that she is working for Kazim Azizi, I would assume she is connected to the Joka. The Sword of Damocles itself is said to enhance the leadership abilities of the person who wields it, make them a great general, a great commander, a great leader. However, it is also cursed to eventually turn on the wielder, much in the way that it hangs over the heads of Damocles and King Dionysus in the legend. So wielding it is potent but dangerous. The person that we believe was the last owner of the sword has disappeared without a trace. His other possessions, his bank holdings, anything that could track him disappeared when he disappeared. There's barely enough information to prove that he even existed.
Interesting. She'll turn to the group and she's like, does that suffice? Can we go on with everything? Or shall I just
Well, I'm always
manifest
prepared.
the information for us?
Excellent. If you're prepared, go ahead.
Why would he seek to consume something that clearly will make the world less stable? That doesn't serve anybody's interests.
Because he is an ancient dragon who is consumed by his hungers. He cares more for his own acquisition, his own satiating than he does for the outside world. I believe firmly that he has moved the husk of the Library of Alexandria into a terra incognita. He is not. That provides him isolation should the world take a turn for the worse.
I think I understand this individual.
Certainly understand how we might persuade them to stop. But the question is, if a dragon must consume, and out of character, does a dragon need to consume this stuff or it starts to like fade? Or is this an addiction or is this a diet?
It's a compulsion.
Okay.
Needs a strong word, but one of the problems with draconic hunger is you have to choose to resist it, and most Dragons see no reason to choose to do anything except what they choose to do.
We can't all be Parthenax.
As might not surprise you, legendary dragons, when you reach that epic level, when your inheritance gets up to 10, you largely give no fucks about what anybody else in the cosmos thinks, because you are the best, highest. You're a dragon, you know.
You operate from a position purely motivated by your personal needs and wants.
Right.
Is there anything we might be able to offer in substitute of the sword?
To the dragon? I couldn't begin to guess. My advice would be to get the sword before it gets to the dragon.
Certainly, but if it were to reach that point...
Try to steal it before he can eat it?
I'm hedging the bets here.
I am not so short-sighted or selfish as to ask you to lay down your lives for my goal.
But are you broad-minded enough, Scion, that you have the capacity to give up something in substitution?
Why would I sacrifice a treasure of equal value?
Equal value is subjective. What would you consider a worthy substitute for unparalleled power and peril?
I wouldn't.
Less than a restraint.
I wouldn't even think along those lines. I have no desire to try to trade with a being whose mind is set on something stronger. Now, if you want to try to persuade, for example, his courier, I am more than willing to offer bribes and riches and connections and things along those lines. But in terms of swapping out another piece of history, I do not want the responsibility of trying to choose what aspect of history is more important than another. They're all important.
Michaela's heard enough. She'll just diligently accept the challenge, look to her other teammates, and walk out of the room and try to make it happen.
All right,
A large envelope full of cash would be helpful then.
as you rise, he reaches in under the table and pulls out a suitcase and says, "Very good." He hands you a big, fat envelope full of cash. Another envelope that has your plane tickets, pictures of the sword, the Sky Sokolov, the courier, and your contact that you're supposed to meet there once you arrive in Mogadishu, Rosamine Dela Cruz.
What does Sky Sokolov look like, by the way? I'm just picturing the wind lady from Planeteers here.
So Sky, let's see. Just double checking that I have the right info before I go dropping a whole bunch of description on you that proves to be not accurate. So Sky is a 6-foot-tall, athletic Afro-Russian woman with natural black hair, brown eyes. She commonly dresses in blues, adapting her personal style to the culture and fashion of where she travels. She's very good at fitting in. She is the absolute opposite of Marcus Brody.
Don't panic. Everything's under control.
Yes. Does anyone speak English? Yeah.
Or even ancient Greek.
Yeah, the opposite of that. Rosamine, your contact, is thin, 5'2", Filipina descent, with close cropped black hair, tan skin, and brown eyes, and tends to dress in just sort of American business casual.
Then we'll say it done. God. Walk out.
Anything that Balagan would like to say or do before leaving?
I think Balgan has heard enough and waits for the other two to leave. Honestly, I respect your putting your foot down to what you are and aren't going to put up with when it comes to art. But I do want to offer just a teeny tiny sort of advice, if I may.
I'd be a fool to refuse.
I love my fine art. I collect it. I collect it just the same like you collect your history. But even I know that fades, and if anything gets in the way of my ultimate goal, it might have to be cast aside. And I'm just saying, for future advice, you might have to consider that very soon. That's all.
I'll take your words to heart, but I would also do well to remind you that I am a god.
And we've seen what happens to gods who become hubris about their own gain. He just walks off.
Excellent.
I love playing with you guys.
You step out. You find in the envelopes everything you need to book your flight, get yourselves over to Mogadishu in short order. As if fate is aligning in your favor, there is a flight that takes off. Basically, it boards 15 minutes after you get through security. As if the world is bending in order to work in your favor.
Important question.
Yes.
Is it economy class or is it first class?
Oh, you're flying first class. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Is this what it's like when the gods are on your side?
Yeah, it's very much like, like somebody gets sick in the security line ahead of you, so they shunt you over to the, VIP line just to get you through faster. Like everything, you can see coincidence conspiring to get you on this plane that's about to leave. It's very obvious. The flight to Mogadishu is comfortable, but otherwise uneventful. And when you arrive, you have been told that Rosamine is awaiting your arrival at a cafe.
Before we even land, there is one thing I want to do.
Sure.
I do want to cast a spell, and that is one of my transformations, Transform Object.
Okay.
He's kind of gotten a flight attendant to give him one of the safety batons. I'm running an art gallery. Don't mind. I'm just gonna have a fine collection. That is a very nice outfit that you have on for such as yourself for your position. And he's just been working on this to make a fake sort of Damocles. He's not trying to make one that will be fooled for long, but one fooled just long enough just in case they have to have a backup and book it.
Excellent. So you absolutely can do that. That is well within the purview of your power. In order to do so, you will spend one inheritance. As I mentioned at the top, because Dragon hasn't been incorporated into Roll20 yet, we're using Legend in lieu of inheritance, but for dragons, it is inheritance. So you'll mark that point that you have as spent. You regain spent inheritance through undergoing a draconic memory or when the story ends.
Where do I mark that on our character sheet?
Where it says Legend, you should see 4 dots.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And then just the X underneath that dot.
Great. Okay.
So once that inheritance has been spent, you may not spend it again. You'll all know you have some of your knacks and spells. Some of your spells, not your knacks, generally, will say you can imbue inheritance, which basically means you pop it in there for the duration that you're using the power. And then when you stop using the power, you get that inheritance back. But if it's a
Great.
spend, then you have to undergo a draconic memory to get the inheritance back, basically. So yeah, on the flight there, you make a fake Sword of Damocles.
I'll be right back. 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, by all means. Take a moment. In fact, if everybody wants to take a brief bio, we can break for 5.
Woo.
All right. If you're watching live, hang out until you see our pretty faces return. If you're watching in Memorex, then just go ahead and fast forward till you see our pretty faces again. We'll be back momentarily. everybody. Welcome back to twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. We have returned from our brief break, and I hope during that time you have all taken the time to go and visit our Indiegogo and pick up the Scion reprint. If you haven't, the link is still in the chat, and in fact, I'm going to just go ahead and pin that sucker right there so that you can see it anytime. You can just reference it's pinned, and it will stay there until the end of the stream. Technology is wonderful.
You got to put in a little gif of Jay Sherman. Buy my book. Buy my book.
So with that, you have hopped on the plane. You've made your copy of the Sword of Damocles. And if you look through the information you were given, you're told it includes which gate the flight heading out of Mogadishu is at. So basically, which gate you could expect to intercept Sky. But it also tells you where you can meet Rosamine. It directs you to a coffee shop to meet with her if you're looking to get more information. So when you land in Mogadishu, what is your plan? The cafe is basically adjacent to the airport, so it's not like you have to go far to get to it.
I think Balgan is just gonna take off his ascot scarf and kind of tie it around her hair and like her head and be like, okay, let's style this up just a little bit. Touch this up right so. Also, do not take any selfies because if you take selfies, they will know who you are immediately.
Hey fam, yo here in Mogadishu.
Perfect. That is sufficient to draw eyes away from you. So you make your way over to the cafe. It's a bustling area, but there is miraculously a quiet little corner where you can see your contact. Sitting by herself in a large booth that has sufficient space for all of you. And it's and remarkably, that booth itself and the most adjacent tables are empty, but the rest of the place seems to be pretty busy.
Hi there. It seems you were waiting for us.
Indeed. I was told by the archivist that you would be here. I would like to help you in any way I can. I'm free to be your guide. I can bring you to the lair, show you how to access the Terra Incognita, and guide you along the process to ensure that we can pull off this heist in as discreet and non-violent a fashion as possible.
Of course.
I assume interception of Sokolov would be our first move then.
My plan is to get us to Lemuria, the lost continent where Kazim Azizi keeps his lair, and make the exchange, or the acquisition, I guess I should say, there. I would like, ideally, I think that our best bet of getting this with little bloodshed or drama is for Sky to believe that she has completed her task.
I glance over at Balagan, just like, man, you're way ahead of us on this. With the forgery?
Of course.
Like,
If you would be so kind as to let me accompany you, I can get you onto the island and to the lair with minimal difficulty.
You guide us there, and I'll be the judge of that. All right?
Fair enough. The island itself once sat off the coast of Madagascar. No one's quite sure as to when exactly it was devoured by the dragon. But it has become his home, and it is where he moved the remains of the library at Alexandria. I know of two ways to reach it. We have the option of sailing through the Bermuda Triangle to a particular touchstone that will then take us to Lemuria. And there is also a touchstone in Puntland, which is, I assume, the way this guy intends to access.
Which way is the safer path for me? Not the rest of the party. May I do a roll?
Oh, if you want to just like generally discern like which one is more dangerous.
Yes.
I'll save you a die roll. Going through the Bermuda Triangle is going to be more dangerous, 100%.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
that seems like a given in any game.
Right. But like you know that you live in a world where all myths are true, right? So like anything that people believe about the Bermuda Triangle, you could conceivably run into.
We could save
Pretty
Amelia
giant
Earhart.
dragons just in there.
Right. You could save Amelia Earhart. You could also wind up in Lost. You could,
never. No, I'm out. Big nope energy.
Yeah, so I would say I would say that definitely the Bermuda Triangle is the riskier route. The primary issue you can think of off the top of your head with accessing it through the Puntland touchstone is that appears to be the way Sky is going as well. So you'll either need to try to beat her there somehow, which would be very difficult given that she's in the airport right now waiting for a flight there. Or take that flight, sneak up behind her basically, and then go through once she has actually gone through the touchstone.
All right, so I'm gonna like dramatically like spin my chair to the other group, the other members of my party, and be like, Bermuda Triangle out, other path is in, if you get what I mean.
Well, that kind of sounds like a given, but I do have maybe a slight two things. First question, why intercept her on the island rather than, say, since she's waiting here, delay her flight?
Because I want her to think she's succeeded at her task.
Oh,
Why?
To prevent her from trying to hunt us down?
Oh.
Don't you think if a substitute is offered or something, then we're going to be hunted down when it becomes evident that the sword has not been consumed anyway. You're just talking about timetables.
If we do this right, no one will ever know it was us.
Okay, now I'm curious.
Yeah, we sneak in. What I'm proposing is we follow along. We go to the touchstone. We sneak into the lair. I know roughly what the security is and roughly what the layout of the lair is. We sneak in. We acquire the item once it has been left there by Sky, and we sneak off with no one the wiser.
All right, out of character. That's never going to work.
Oh,
We're gonna do it.
In character, I suppose.
Balgun kind of, that eyebrow of his kind of raises. And what is it? What do you get out of this, dear?
Oh, to be perfectly frank with you, I get a demigod who owes me a favor.
We all get that.
No, I got that part. No, seriously, what do you get out of this on the island?
Is there something more that I need than divine favor?
Well, divine favor, yes, always a blessing, but an island where somewhere the most lost treasures, weapons, armories, things that you can never imagine is waiting on an island. We're just waiting to be consumed, and you don't plan on swiping one or two other things.
I mean, here's the thing, right? If we're in that treasure room and there's an opportunity for us to grab a couple of other items, there's an opportunity for us to grab a couple of other items. I have no particular stake in any other item in that place, nor does the archivist. So if something else falls into y'all's pockets while we're there, then so be it. But I assure you, I could care less whether or not the Sword of Damocles is eaten, to be quite frank with you. That's not my aim here. My aim here is
Can I lie to the other characters in this room and say that everything's going to be okay?
You can absolutely lie to them and say everything's going to be okay.
And just go with it?
You're just as capable of lying as anyone else is. You have no bane that prevents you from doing so.
What,
I am beyond rolling to believe it, but I'll keep things moving.
same. I think Balgun
Just be like, yes, it's all going to be good.
It's mostly Balgun just looking between the two of them and just going, sure, we can go with that.
We're all just pawns in this game anyways.
Yes, until we grow up to become the very monsters and somebody hunts us.
Well, what's wrong with being a little monstrous, Reese?
I need to start a religion where I'm not an asshole.
Well,
Be the
saint
first
to one, asshole to another.
Be the first god of not being an asshole.
And you will still be an asshole to someone.
You're not wrong.
That is fair enough. A couple things that we will need to be cogent of as we are going there, things that we're going to need to sneak past or deal with, is the folks who live on Lemuria exist in a bizarre state. Because they have been consumed by Kazim Azizi as residents of Lemuria, they have been forgotten by not only Death God's Psychopomps history, but to a degree, fate itself. So long as they remain trapped on the island, they can't truly die. And the dragon maintains their loyalty by providing them new bodies when their old ones are destroyed, thus granting them a measure of immortality. From that force, he maintains a defense force, which is supplemented by members of the 9th Roman Legion.
Why not?
Everything that Kazim Azizi consumes exists after a fashion in his realm.
So maybe the solution is to just let the dragon consume everything, and then everything is all together anyway and resets.
Under the thumb of a very hungry, very angry ancient dragon doesn't seem like a plan that certainly our employer would go for.
Sure, but then he would have eaten everything. So he'd starve in this world and we live in the new world. This is not the right time for this conversation.
I mean, I'm happy to debate the philosophical angles of it with you if you like, but I'd be just as happy to go grab that damn sword, get it out of our hair, and return it to the archivist.
Works fine for me.
So, with that end, we can go hop on the same plane that Sky is planning to take.
Let's go.
Certainly.
Wonderful. She pays the check. You get up and head into the airport. It's very busy in the core of the airport, but once again, you find yourselves able to get through security with very little rigmarole. As you make your way to the gate that the flight to Puntland is leaving from, that gate itself is basically empty. In fact, when you arrive, you see only one employee behind the desk, and Sky, based on the images that you have in your dossiers, and a second woman who you do not recognize.
Let's see. He just turns to their contact. Any recognition? Anyone that we might have to worry about?
She kind of nods over in the direction of the two and says, "That is a private security officer that Sky has hired. I'm not sure where exactly she's from. I think, honestly, we should wait, not make any noise, difficulty, get on the plane like we're just going to have a good old time."
Looks into the camera with Keith David energy. Rent-a-cops. I hate rent-a-cops too.
And
Kayla will just be like super friendly and be like, "What was your name again?" To the lady you don't know.
to the lady you don't know,
Yes.
do you want to go over and approach the security guard? Or
I figure we're all kind of close quarters.
well, it's actually a relatively sizable gate. You know, you've got like the various areas where people can mill about or sit. So you can be in there and be far enough to have a private conversation that the other group won't hear. And it really is only you, them, and the folks. Well, you have a what?
I have a trait called Friends Anywhere. I just want to know if you have any mutual friends online.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So let me just check your friends anywhere here and see what exactly that does for you in this context. Because that might come in handy. You can spend a momentum. We haven't gotten into this because it hasn't come up. You have a number of points of momentum equal to the number of people in the party. If you fail rolls or other things, you will gain momentum. Momentum can be spent to activate some of your knacks, but also can be spent to like re-roll failed dice. So in this case, you would spend one of your momentum, bringing your momentum pool down to 3, or down to 2, I'm sorry. And that would allow you to declare a contact of your choosing with a rating equal to your nomad dots. So you could, for example, decide if you spent a momentum, you could make the person working the counter your contact. You can't necessarily make a character like of the same tier as you a contact. So you can't like say like, oh, that other dragon is a buddy of mine necessarily. That's kind of a case by case basis. But you could I would absolutely let you do it to have the person working the counter be a contact.
Okay, well, she must have misunderstood her power here in this context. So she just straight up asked her, "Do I know you from anywhere?" And she'll probably just be like, "No."
Oh, so you're going to approach the security guard and ask, do I know you from anywhere?
Yeah.
She looks over and kind of like double takes at you and says, no, I believe you've got me mistaken for someone else.
She'll be embarrassed, be like, "All right, fair enough." Boards the flight. All
right, so you're just, other than that, going to chill until you have probably about 15 minutes before it's due to board.
So, do we want to try to pull a switcheroo here? Because Sokolov has the sword here, I assume.
Yep, you see that, in fact, I believe Sokolov is, yes, carrying what appears to be like a, almost looks like a guitar case.
So we want to make the switch after Sokolov has dropped it on the island so that Sokolov doesn't know. That's the idea.
That's the plan that has been pitched to you.
Couldn't we theoretically switch it here and no one's the wiser? Or
you can certainly give that a shot. Yeah.
Now, I've got illusions. So I could make somebody invisible while they pull a switcheroo. And I can also disguise an object for one day, even after it leaves our presence. So, you
want to two-prong this, Reese?
Happy to help.
I'll distract and you handle the switcheroo.
Let me check my skills really quick to see if Reese is in fact good at that kind of thing. Oh, 4 dice on subterfuge. I am, in fact.
Subterfuge is the thing.
I like it.
Excellent.
I got 4 in dex too, so I'm all about this.
So what would you like to try to use? So you have a couple of options. Unfortunately, they both require you to imbue an inheritance, so you'll have to figure out kind of which one you want to do. You can just
the disguise version. I can do up to 2 people or objects. So we could take a bag and make it look like the bag in question. You can put your forgery into it, bloop, and I could make myself look like somebody who has some kind of business being that close.
Sure, that is an option.
I'll do my thing.
You also do have the eyes turned away spell, which would allow you to others don't notice you or a willing target you've touched as long as you try to be stealthy. Right. And anyone who succeeds on a clash of wills, even you still get enhancement to try to hide from them.
I think the disguise one might make a little more sense. I mean, it's up to. I mean, if now, Crow, I don't know what that means, but I do trust you.
You know me. I always have one step ahead of you, no matter which plan you come up with.
Son of a bitch.
This is up to you.
All right, so I'm gonna try for the switch. What's everybody else doing?
Michaela's just hanging back. She's already tried a social interaction that failed. So she's just kind of observing the crew, any like social cues that she needs to be on top of.
Sure. It certainly seems that Sky and her bodyguard are very cagey. They're very suspicious. They've now kind of looked over at you all a couple times, but they don't seem to have like placed you.
Maybe I can start a conversation with them to distract what's really going on.
Sure. That could absolutely help. So your plan would be to go sort of intercept them, try to distract them.
Yeah, just be like a dumb like Twitch star and be like, "Are you confused because you see me somewhere?"
Sure.
I was gonna say a failed social roll is a successful distraction roll.
Right?
Yeah, you can certainly give that a try. As far as
try to like read their horoscope and be like, "Are you having troubles with your love life?"
sure.
Are you an Aries? You've got a real conflicted aura.
So while that's going on, in terms of having like a bag on you, that's probably not a problem. One of you probably has a bag that you could easily make appear like the bag that she's carrying. Then the hardest part would be getting that switch to occur. So what's your plan for that?
So I can disguise the bag. We put the forgery sword into it. If you two can keep eyes averted away, it's not too hard to just look like a baggage courier or something and just swoop and move on.
I got this. All right.
So
So I'll approach the people he's trying to switch bags with.
all right.
I'll
drag Crow's character along just for backup here.
I think Balrog has already like switched his outfits to match like that color blue that she has on, and you just wondering how in the middle of the place. So like he just does not care. Like suit jacket, shoes, the hat, even like the slacks. He just goes, "Oh, I fit the occasion."
Right.
And he's like stepping over, and he kind of lightly trips, like delicately towards his body towards more of the security guard. Oh, sorry, darling. And he's almost matching the other woman's accent as he does it.
Okay. All right. So we've got an inheritance imbued from Reese, which is all that takes. You don't actually have to make a roll. You just imbue the inheritance and it happens. So just so that I'm clear, you're just disguising the bag, or are you disguising the bag and something else?
The bag and myself.
Excellent. And what would you like to disguise yourself as?
Janitorial staff.
Okay.
The kind of person who would move a bag to sweep under it.
Gotcha. And
also the kind of person who you don't really notice the janitorial staff. They're part of the function.
That's fair. All right. So let's get some rolls here. I'm going to need so Balagan, you are dressing in a manner that is sort of mimicking what your opponents are wearing, right?
Yeah, it's that whole talented Mr. Ripley meets Sabrina interloper sort of moment. Like he is weaseling his way into like the social situation.
Sure.
Good references. Yeah. Nice.
Of course. So here's what we'll need. I'm going to need let's say a probably subterfuge roll. I would assume for Michaela.
Really? Oh no.
Yeah, because you're trying to like convince these people that you're trying to trick these people, right? Did you have something else you wanted to lean on?
Well, I just wanted to go up to them and be like, "Don't worry, I know everything about you and I can tell you what's ailing you." So empathy.
Oh,
That's
sure.
up to you.
I would allow you to make an empathy roll. Yeah. What would you like to pair that with? Like, say, manipulation or presence?
Yeah.
Every roll's a survival roll when you get down to it.
That's valid.
Manipulation, just be like, because it's for the wrong reasons. I don't actually care about them. I care about completing.
Sure. Give me an empathy manipulation roll.
I can be like, I know Oh, your Venus sign is Aries, and that's very difficult for you. Let me tell you how to find. All right.
I normally never do this for free, but
Of course.
You've seen me from somewhere. It's probably TikTok, and I've helped millions of people across America. I love astrology, by the way.
and I hate TikTok, so this is great.
Excellent. One second here.
First time in a long time, cringe worked in our favor.
Right?
I love it.
That's what I'm good at. But I actually do love astrology. Like, this is
Sure, yeah.
not
Wonderful.
jokes.
So not only do you succeed, but you succeed with a net value of 2 above their highest successes. So you kind of walk over to them and you start, chatting them up, yada, yada, yada. They seem confused at first, but then they're like, yeah, let's humor this. This is fine. And you get you sort of get the impression, you get the twinkle in the eye, as it were, as if the bodyguard does, in fact, recognize you. So they are absolutely listening to you.
Give it away, your eyes should,
I love it. Yeah, and so they're listening to you. However, you notice that this has not caused Sky to loosen her grip in the slightest on that bag. She is holding it very tightly. But you have their complete attention, and that net successes can be used as enhancement for Balagan, as Balagan is trying to do this. You're trying to actually like walk up and do the switch. Is that correct? Or are you also providing further distraction? And
I'm providing, because I know Reese is better at doing the switch. I know I can provide better distraction and be the center of attention and loosening up some hands. And
if you can loosen that grip, I can make that switch. But
don't worry, I got you. Yeah, he's while this is happening with like I'm reading your horoscope. He's kind of walked in, matching accent, outfit, kind of dramatically somewhat falls towards the security guard, but make sure a hand is slightly towards Sky, not intimidating, but like please save me sort of hand is being reached out, and he just goes I'm like, I'm just so terribly, it's just been a long day. I just came back from Milan. These shoes are just not fitting the way that I are looking, and he's just holding up $50,000 pair of blue shoes and just puts them back on. Still kind of in the arms of the security woman. Wow, you're strong. And you're lovely. That is a nice blue. Where'd you get it?
wonderful. Love it.
Would you happen to have a peanut butter sandwich or a cordial? My blood sugar.
Exactly.
I love it. Go ahead and give me that. You were gonna lean on subterfuge, though, correct?
Not necessarily subterfuge, because he just wants to be any moment for him to be like having somebody like put any attention on him. Like he's in it just for the attention.
Okay.
So persuasion, maybe.
Let me see. What do I have? Because he has a lot of presence and a lot of.
Oh, this is present.
This is his presence. He's gonna flash like a peacock. So culture, hopefully, because he's showing off like a lot of stuff on him. He's making sure that he's the center of all of this.
Right. You're trying to draw the all eyes on you type of thing.
All eyes, yeah.
All right, yeah. Let's do culture presence, probably.
Yeah. Oof. No successes.
Not great. You do have the opportunity. Now you have a choice. You can either take the loss and gain a momentum, or you can spend any of your remaining momentum. You have 2 left in the pool. I would allow you to spend them both if the group agrees, to re-roll 2 of those dice.
What does the group think?
You have my permission.
Okay.
Go for it.
Go for it. Then yes, I
didn't do
rolls.
much, so you go.
Let me spend those 2. How do I do that?
So I'll just note that you're down to 0 momentum at this point, and that
Okay.
you will then go ahead and just actually probably your best bet is just to type /roll, and then or actually if you go over in the corner you'll see on your left you should see a little dice icon you can click on.
My left. Okay.
It's like that bar that's along the left side of the screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes.
You can click on the die and then just hit 2d10, and then we'll just look and see what the results are. All right. Unfortunately, neither of those were a success either. So you gain 2 momentum back into the pool, but you have pretty well pooched that. This would be very bad for you had Anna, the security guard, not botched her roll. So this is not quite so bad in that Sky is barely kind of aware of what's going on between the two of you. She's feeling a little overprocessed. But what I am going to do is I'm going to add a complication of 2 to the attempt to actually snatch the bag. And if you don't resolve that complication when you roll for it, Reese, that will effectively, you will get control of the bag, but you will also immediately alert them that you have taken it. Make sense?
I'll just give them a look like we both tried to do what we're best at. Maybe it's not worth it right now. We gotta wait. Just give them like a little bit of a, I don't know, risky look.
I mean, and you can read the room. You can see what's going on. You're perfectly aware of what's up, so it's entirely your call how you want to proceed. You can abort, or you can try to give it a shot with that complication.
How many? There's no additional dice, I'm guessing. So
no, unless you have some way that you can think of that would generate enhancement here. There's nothing that I can think of that would off the top of my head, but that doesn't mean much.
I can attempt to sort of like bump into Sokolov to like.
I mean, I would assume that's going to be like part of that action, right?
Yes, I'm gonna draw upon my real life childhood of ill deeds. The Oliver twist of it is if you jostle somebody, you distract their like attention of self.
Sure.
And given that I've got like a mop and all kinds of things to tangle into this, that can cause a drop of a bag, and I just so sorry. You know, bend down, pick up the bag. I'm so sorry, and it's the wrong one.
Sure.
So,
in that case, would you like to lean on subterfuge? Would you like to lean on larceny? Is larceny on Scion?
I think it's just subterfuge.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with subterfuge and dexterity.
Perfect. You have a complication of 2. So basically what that means is if you get 1 success, you will get your hands on the bag. But if you do not spend 2 additional successes to buy off the complication, you'll have your hands on the bag, and she will know you have your hands on the bag.
Okay. Well, I'll have plausible deniability. Be like, oh, sorry, wrong one. Yeah, and then we move on to the next phase of trying.
Absolutely.
Here we go, folks.
Ooh.
Balls.
Big money.
All right. Well, on the bright side, you do have that 2 momentum from the previous failure. So if you want to spend those and roll 2d10, give it a shot, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah.
Why not? All right. 2d10. Let's see if I can.
All right. Unfortunately, neither of those is an 8, so you do not resolve the complication. I'll break this down for how this kind of works out, right? And Kayla walks up, starts saying like, "Oh, I see great things in your future. Can I please do a read for you? You have such a distinctive face," and blah, blah, blah. And while that's going on, Belligan walks up and is just very boisterous and like, I recognize your passion and I really enjoy it, and kind of drawing attention that way. The janitor sort of comes up, bumps the bags both hit the ground. You grab the bag and like lift, and as you grab the bag and lift, Sky reaches out at you. And so we're going to drop into a combat. To save us a lot of difficulty, I'm going to do this in terms of sides, and I'm going to let the PCs go first. Yeah, I will give you all the first run of action, and we will start things out. We're just going to go in the order I see you on the screen. So, Kevin, you're going to have the first action. You're free. You're more than welcome to reserve that and hand it off to one of your buddies, but you are the first.
I'm still going to act as though this isn't combat, and if this gives some kind of like hesitancy bonus, if you're determined to make it a fight, I'm going to like be holding one bag and hold another bag and be like, "Hey, that's not your bags. This one's your bag. What are you doing?"
So you're going to try
Security.
All right. So you're going to try to further confuse the situation.
Yes.
All right. So what I will do then is I'll let you make a subterfuge manipulation,
Okay.
Or maybe an integrity manipulation,
I'll stick with subterfuge.
whichever is better for you. And then I'm going to give you basically. I'm going to give you a difficulty of 2 because the situation has escalated at this point.
Quite sus.
However, any successes that you get beyond the difficulty will serve as complications to their actions. Effectively, if they don't resolve those complications that you're imposing, they will draw the attention of airport security to themselves. Make sense?
Okay.
3 successes.
Excellent. So you succeed, and you get you put a complication of 1 on your opponents. That if they do not resolve with their actions, they will draw security down on them. Next up would be Crow. What is Balagan going to do in light of this changing environment?
Wow, this did change. Let me see. He is a lover, not a fighter.
Yes, indeed.
Apparently. I mean, don't look at the gun, but he is going to.
It's a fashion piece. This is Austrian.
Yeah, this is Austrian.
Genuine ostrich feathers.
In that weird moment of like, it looks like combat is about to happen. He does this sort of like playing off of their emotions, just kind of do it like a playful stuff, like, oh, okay, ma'am, that's a little handsy there. Okay, you can keep going. I love the attention.
All right.
Like more diffusing, but also confusing at the same time of like, what the hell what is happening with this dude?
Given the nature of what's happening around you, I'm going to assign that as a difficulty of 3.
Okay.
And you're going to have a complication of 1. If you do not resolve that complication, you will you basically blow your cover as well. Now,
Big money.
I am perfectly okay with you if you roll and you only get 1 success with you resolving the complication but not meeting the difficulty.
Okay.
So that is an option. But in order for you to pull this off and not blow your cover, you're going to need 4 successes.
Okay. I know I'm using integrity. I don't know what the attribute would be in this.
I would say probably either manipulation or presence, but I'm open to other suggestions.
Okay. I can present this out.
Okay.
Three successes.
Okay, so you basically have a choice. Do you want to succeed but blow your cover, or do you want to fail but maintain your cover? Effectively, if you succeed but blow your cover, you will pull the attention away from Reese, and all eyes will be on you. If you decide to fail but maintain your cover, they're just going to kind of ignore you.
I'll take the attention off of Reese. I love the attention. So I'll take the success.
All right, excellent. So, so you're pulling the attention, but have blown your cover.
Oh, essentially, yes.
No.
All right.
Uh-huh.
That leaves us to Michaela. What is Michaela going to do?
Well, I have a skill called influencing opinions. Perhaps that might come in handy under persuasion.
Yeah, that's a specialty. So, like, you can try to use persuasion to influence them. That's not going to. The specialty isn't necessarily going to apply because, again, specialties work with other skill in tandem. But if you wanted to, like, say, make a, I don't know, enigmas roll to say something cryptic and then apply your influencing opinions specialty to it, then you get the enhancement.
I'll just try to convince them that, like, whatever is in that bag wasn't that important. It's all just a coincidence.
You sure that's the tack you're going to take?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a enigmas and manipulation roll, probably. You or persuasion and manipulation. If you go with enigmas, you'll have an enhancement of 1. If you don't, you'll just roll persuasion. But your difficulty is going to be 5 because you're trying to convince them that the thing that they're there for is not important. So it's a very difficult roll.
Enigmas? I don't think I have nothing in that.
Or occult, whatever you want to lean on for, like, for your spooky vibe. Occult would be fine too.
Yeah, I think enigmas is a mage and werewolf thing. I don't see it on the screen.
All right, occult and
it might be academics in this that they lean on.
Oh, yeah.
Again, forgive me if I'm shooting out Trinity skills by default.
Oh goodness, that's a skill under persuasion.
All right, so so you can roll persuasion, you just won't get the enhancement.
Oh no! What freak was I? So persuasion and what?
Manipulation, probably. Though I could see an argument for presence if you feel, or cunning for that matter.
All right. Persuasion, influencing opinions, and cunning's all right. I'm probably lying.
Give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen?
Everything's okay. What's my roll?
So you got 2 successes. Not enough to meet the difficulty. So you're all trying to talk this down, and it's just not getting talked down. Fortunately, for your overall goal, the majority of the attention does seem to be pointed at Baligan. But that's the end of the good news. Sky is going to imbue one inheritance and let out a grumble. As she lets out this, like, rumbling noise, you feel the, like, floor tiles where you're standing start to shake, rattle, and roll effectively, creating complication to the entire area that you're in. Any attempt to move suffers a +3 complication. If not bought off, the person who's trying to move can choose to suffer an injury condition, fall prone, or slow their movement by half.
In an airport?
Yes. the entire the terminal that you're in. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Just the one area that you're in, and it's just you, the employee, and the other Scions. That area is where these tiles are hopping and popping.
Man, security's coming.
Security doesn't seem to have noticed yet because she hasn't rolled a die. She hasn't rolled a die to do that. That doesn't even take a roll. It's just a
They're
thing
only
she
15
did.
an hour, you know.
She is going to make a dice roll though. And that
Security, you're right.
That dice roll is going to be to attempt to persuade, convince Baligan to tell her, who are you working for? And she says that in a very angry voice. This is the type of influence that basically, if she succeeds on this, you can choose to ignore that influence. It will just give her tension, which is basically the enemy equivalent of momentum.
Okay.
So she only got one success. I would rule that that's probably not enough to convince you to say anything.
Yeah.
So there's no need for you to resist the influence because it wasn't enough to affect you.
Ma'am, dear, darling, you mistaken. I don't work for anyone except for my own goals, my own amusement, and my own fashion sense, just like you, I would hope so. Because if not, then that would mean that you're boring. And if you're boring, well, I'd be a little disappointed.
As you're having that exchange, you do notice that now security absolutely has noticed because she did not resolve her complication.
Yep.
So there are two security guards making their way over to the terminal. Did you have a question?
I have an action to perform when it comes up.
Sure. There's one more antagonist gets stacked, and then it goes back around. Well, then it goes to the others. So just so that I'm clear on this, as of right now, Reese has a hold of the bag. Michaela and Baligan are still sort of trying to hold the attention of the others. The ground is a little rumbly, and that brings us to the security guard, who again, because Baligan has drawn all of the attention, she's going to straight up try to restrain you. Like she's going to try to cop body you. She's going to grab you by one shoulder and the other wrist and put you on the ground. Is her aim here.
Fresh.
Okay.
So in that case, you'll notice you have a defense pool.
All right.
You may roll that defense pool. She will roll her attack pool, and whoever wins gets the win, as it were. Anna, you're rolling like garbage tonight.
Hold on, let me get this. Hold on.
Oh, the security guard, Anna. She's botched one roll, and she just didn't do great on that one.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So, Baligan, you're on the ground suddenly, grappled with a 2-success grapple. So, effectively, in order for you to affect anyone but Anna, who is currently holding you physically, you would need to overcome that first. You need to break that grapple first. Because she just grabs you and drops you.
That's fine.
The security guards run into the area. I need to roll their movement dice real quick. Just to see what's up with them. The first one fails and falls flat on their face. The second one also still fails to resolve the complication and runs in. It's like the wet bandits have just run into the area. The first one just trips forward and slaps their face onto the ground. The second one does that like running backwards thing for a second and then falls on their ass. lastly, I have one more secret roll to make. Super secret.
Oh.
As the final person who is present is, in fact, going to try her hand at what's up. So she is going to try to snatch the bag without anybody noticing. What is your cunning for Reese?
Cunning. I don't see cunning on the sheet.
It's on your attribute. It's an attribute.
Oh, here we go. Why is that minimized? There we go. Cunning 4.
Okay, so that's going to be her target number to pull this off without you noticing.
Man, how many hands fit on this handle?
Well, I mean, she's just trying to like snag it and move. So like she doesn't even necessarily have to grab the handle. She's just trying to. You're going to feel a pull, but whether or not you notice that it was her that did it will depend on her dice roll. So,
jeez.
Miraculously, you feel that the bag like slipped from your grip, and then Rosamine calls out to you and says, "Take it and go," and tosses you the bag.
Okay. I grab the false bag as well and toss it to.
You go to grab the false bag and it's not there.
Oh, for heaven's sake! Fine. No 2-card Monty. Okay. Yeah. Hell with it. I'm just gonna book.
All right. Roll your movement dice. You have a complication of 3.
7. Okay. Hey.
That is exactly what you needed. So you are booking, I assume, out of the terminal to the area where the ground is no longer trying to eat you, right? Like
that sounds preferable and logical and
is
good.
that the aim? All right, rock and roll. So you are now clear. You are out of the affected area. That brings us around to Baligan. Baligan, what would you like to do?
How close is this woman?
That has you. She's she's got you by one shoulder, grabbed you by the opposing wrist, has put you on the ground, and like his knee in your back.
Great.
Yeah, she's clearly trained in how to take people down.
I know. That is amazing. Love that for her.
What am I doing? Just standing there
At the moment, yeah, you're like, what the
You're just
fuck?
like, oh.
Whoa! That seems excessive. Yeah.
No. Darling, the one on my back.
I can tell you're Aries Venus. I don't know.
I think they aren't interested in like the horoscope. I like you. What's your name, security woman?
Sorry.
She says, my name is what the hell are you doing and who do you work for?
Oh, see, darling, that's not how we do this. This is courting. If you're going to court me, you should give a name first.
That's the safe word. I asked for your name.
Are you going to attempt to compel her to do so in any way? Because she's certainly not inclined.
No, but I do have perfume on me, though.
Okay.
And it's a very strong scent, and I don't think she would like the smell of it. And I plan on breaking it and causing that to mess up her little sinuses and eyes right there.
So you're effectively going to sort of mace her with your perfume?
Kinda, yeah.
All right. You may do so. I would say that that's probably a firearms, though I could be talked into athletics for that role.
Would you say the odds? Would you say the odds are 60% of the time? It works every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. That smells like pure gasoline.
And then probably Dex, but again, I'm open to hearing other options if you have something else in mind.
You know what? Firearms index.
All right. Cool. Give it a shot. Your difficulty's 2, because that's how many successes she had to grapple you. So.
And how do I add our specialty chemicals? How do we add that?
What's your chemical specialty from?
Science.
Yeah, absolutely. So that counts as an enhancement. I don't know why the enhancement thing prompt is not working properly, so I'll just count that because you don't add it as an extra die. So I'll just add 1 to your successes.
Cool. 2 successes.
Amazingly, that's what you needed. So you sort of pop the top off of it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say more likely, like you pop the top and then just like throw it at her open, so it kind of splashes her in the eyes a bit as well, freeing you from the grapple. So you're prone, you're on the ground, and you're still, you haven't moved anywhere, but she's no longer got a hold of you. What
Smells like almonds. It's cyanide.
Right, and it's kind of grossing her out. What is Michaela doing in light of that?
So he managed to distract the security guard. I'm going to try and help him up and kind of walk out.
All right, I'm going to need you to roll your movement.
Like we're meant to do.
I'm going to need you to roll your movement dice because that's still a concern right now.
Movement dice?
Yep. Should be on
It's
your
right
sheet.
under health.
Under health.
Left side under your attributes.
Oh, 3. Okay. So I just roll 3d10?
Yep. Nice. And you can re-roll that 10 because those explode.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
110?
Yeah, re-roll your 1d10. Yeah.
The bloomers.
Excellent. That's your 3. That's what you need. So you pull them up and are able to sort of start making your way out of the terminal.
Swiggity.
I would like all 3 of you to roll, I would say probably integrity and cunning, unless there's another skill you'd like to lean on for trying to notice things.
I'm okay with that. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Integrity. Cunning?
Ein.
Come on. Let me have something. Ooh.
Zwei.
Oh, I'm not great at integrity. Sad.
Fünf.
All right. So as soon as the group of you is clear, floor stops rattling. You see the security guards get up, come over, and detain the bodyguard and Sky. It takes you a moment after you regroup to realize that Rosamine is gone.
Well. Reese?
I mean, we've got the bag.
Do we have the bag?
Check inside.
There's a copy of the Sword of Damocles in the bag.
Son of a bitch. Okie dokie.
We've been played.
And the world is doomed.
Well, not necessarily yet.
The fact we have to do this stuff, I feel like the world is doomed.
Well, that may be fair. However, this is why money is important.
What's your plan?
She couldn't have gone far, right?
As soon as you say that, you look out the window and you see this isn't like a fancy highfalutin airport where the where the train runs right out to the tunnel runs right out to the door. You walk out onto the tarmac and you walk up some stairs, and you see Rosamine walking up the stairs, getting on that plane with the bag in hand.
Okay, so is Rosamine not on our side then?
I don't think she was ever on our side to begin with.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I guess we get on that plane really fast.
Mm-hmm. We get on the plane.
Yeah, okay.
As you run over to get toward the door, as you approach the gate, the employee says, "Excuse me, we've already closed the doors. There's nobody else is boarding, unfortunately."
There's a bomb on that plane.
Oh my goodness! He picks up the phone and starts calling in security and ground the plane. There's a bomb on the plane.
Balrog starts describing the woman. She also plans on doing a ritualistic killing, saying that she's doing this for. He's naming a bunch of cultural points, like alarm bell, and then just giving her description. Also, she says something about the UN. I don't know what that means.
All right.
Motherfucker is not real.
I'm going to try something here. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Just checking a thing real quick. Okay. You create a panic at the airport. The Mogadishu airport security takes you all, Anna, the bodyguard, Sky, and Rosalind into custody. Places all of you in separate interrogation rooms.
Oh dear.
After about an hour of getting asked all sorts of inane questions about how did you know, who did you what are you aware of, what's your political affiliations, blah 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 blah. You all eventually get released.
But can I switch the bags at some point?
You're told that all of the items have been taken into airport security's custody.
I would like to try to roll my subterfuge and cunning with my specialization of infiltrating bureaucracies to find some kind of method of manipulating the system so that I get first dibs on getting my baggage back.
Sure. Go ahead. It's going to be difficulty 3 because it's very difficult to try to talk airport security into giving you bags that are evidence in a suspected bombing attempt.
Wrong.
So, yeah. Go ahead and make that roll at difficulty 3.
All right.
You got this.
I hope the dice are with us. 4.
Nice. So you get it with an enhancement. They ultimately, after they question you, they return your bag.
My bag or the bag I want?
Well, whichever bag you ask for, they return.
Ha ha ha! I want the real sword of Damocles. To be clear.
Sure. You get your hands back on the bag. When you receive it, the bag is empty. You are met outside of the area, shortly after, as they're handing you the empty bags, both of them. Sky comes up to you. Says, "Very well played." The whole group kind of recongeals.
Great.
says, unfortunately, I think we've all been one-upped.
Well, in your case, that seems like a good thing. You're only dooming the entire world.
In all of our cases, I would argue it's a bad thing. You see, I did some digging, you might say, during my interrogation. And I realized where I knew that woman you were traveling with from. She, too, is an heir of Kazamaziz.
I told that man his hubris would get him in trouble, of course. He would put us in contact with another heir.
I believe she stole the sword so that she might return it to the lair and earn our master's favor.
Predictable.
Yep, I kind of tracked that.
Now, I intend to stop her. If you...
Is this pride, or do you just plan on handing it to your master?
This is, I don't want to be eaten by an angry dragon because I let a valuable item be taken by another one of his heirs.
Relatable motivation.
Fair.
However,
My son can never come down.
However, I could use some help.
You realize at the end of this, the sword goes with us.
Of course, it is more important to me to not be defeated by her than it is to deliver the sword. The dragon will wait. Another opportunity will come. He has eternity. But if I fail him in his eyes, I will be consumed.
I'm willing to let the enemy of our enemy become our friend. At least for now.
Well, if we must, and she has nice fashion sense, I might as well.
Glorious. Fortunately, I happen to know of another touchstone that will get us into Lemuria.
Oh, dear God.
This one, not so far from here, but a little riskier to access. You see, Kazim Aziz holds dominion over anywhere where knowledge has been destroyed. And I happen to know the Mogadishu library was recently demolished. Now it's under guard because there's an active construction scene there right now. But if we can sneak in, we should be able to get to Lemuria, possibly even before Rosalind lands. Will you join me?
We have little choice.
Michaela's already standing at your side, like she has something to prove.
Oh, well. Already accepted the payment.
Excellent. You make your way to the library. And that, my friends, is where we'll call it for this session. Now, I put the question to you. Do we want to allow this story to fade off into its end, or do we want to come back in 2 weeks and wrap this up and see where things go?
I'm not against a wrap up if everybody else is enthusiastic for it.
Sure.
Sure.
I'm open.
Starting a campaign, correct? Or
Excellent. Well, here's the plan, and we're going to discuss this in more detail afterward. But this group and I, we've come together to run this one shot, but we are planning on starting a campaign in this time slot. We've not yet quite settled on what that campaign is going to be. For now, it looks like it's going to be the rest of this dragon adventure, and we'll see where we go from there. But so mark your calendars because we're going to be here bi-weekly. Yeah. Questions, comments, complaints, or concerns about your introduction to Scion Dragon?
I'm happy with it. I've never played. Try my best. I just try to be the most TikTok-y astrological person as possible.
Did everything seem to make sense and come together in a way that was easy to follow? Beautiful. I think you all did a great job, and I had a great time.
The rules are pretty clean. It's familiarity with the story path system in general helps, but the variances. It's also one of those things where it's like they're so close together that it's too easy to mix them up.
It can be a bit of a hence me dropping Trinity skills repeatedly.
Right. I kind of like that though, because I didn't read anything about Trinity and I was able to participate. So.
Right.
It's as complaints go, that's kind of a good one to have. So,
right. It's easily familiar.
I imagine with a couple of sessions and a little bit of reading, it would not be hard to make that transition. It'd be a lot less work than learning Blades in the Dark coming from D&D. That's a hell of a change. So. Yeah, it's nice. It feels like an Onyx Path product. Not to sound like a shill, but it's got that rule flavor.
Well, we appreciate your shilling. But on that note, then that's where we will leave our adventurers. I would like to congratulate you. By the way, you uncovered the double cross a whole act prior to when it's assumed that you will in the game.
Right.
So.
Just thinking of Ronan, why don't we take it now? Well, it is tempting. What if they had hit the hotel instead of the road?
Right, exactly. So to that end, we will gather 2 weeks hence, and we will run through the final act of this. We'll visit Lemuria. We'll see how bad things can get, or how good things can get. You never know. You might sneak in, snatch the sword, and everybody will be happy. Or you might piss off an ancient dragon.
Oh, I think we're well past that being the case.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to really get him to notice you, let alone be angry with you.
Senpai.
all this stuff is kind of like beneath his notice the moment. He's like, yeah, I'm sure there's stuff going on out there. I have heirs to handle it, whatever. That's why they have heirs. He's busy doing other stuff like hunting people in the Bermuda Triangle.
So
that's why so much stuff gets lost there. It was a dragon the whole time.
The dragon is eating it. That is one of many truths about the Bermuda Triangle. This was a grand time. I had a great time. I'd like to thank my fellow cast members for taking the time to join and running through this enjoyable story with me. I want to thank the development team on Scion Dragon and on Live by the Blade. Awesome story. We're having a great deal of fun with it. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I want to encourage those of you who are watching at home, if you've not yet checked out Scion Dragon, please do. It's a load of fun. And if you've not yet picked up Live by the Blade, it is currently available over at DriveThruRPG in POD and PDF. I have a very beautiful, you probably can't see it because cameras are what cameras are, but I have a very beautiful POD copy of it right here.
Well, it's a pretty book.
It is lovely. I like it quite a bit.
Can't complain about the artists.
Also would like to take the time to remind you all of our ongoing Indiegogo campaign. I think there's about a week left in it. So if you want to get those reprints, perfect way to get your hands on them. Obviously, we understand, not everybody can pop on that right this second. So once the reprints are processed and done, those will be what's going out in the stores because that's part of why we had to do a new print run, right? Because we're low on stock. So the updated versions will be going out to stores later on once it's done, probably sometime next year. I think that's it for us right now. I would like to give everybody here a chance to say their goodbyes. So we'll do this in reverse order. Haley, if you could, please tell us who you are, what you do, who you are playing, your pronouns, their pronouns, anything you'd like to promote.
Well, my name's Haley, also known as Babe_Blade666 on the internet. I go by she, her. I'm pretty sure Michaela goes by she, her. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on like social media and playing games, but I'm happy to be back at it. And I thank Travis so much for inviting me back to another Onyx Path game.
I thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's been like almost a year break for me, and I'm happy to be back to my favorite hobby. A little bit of a rough emotional year for me, so I'm happy to be playing again and playing with friends like Crow. I know Kevin from a different game, so I'm happy to be,
That's right. I totally forgot. You two killed zombies together, and
I bet it, my face was a little melted at that game.
I was going to say,
normal face. Maybe you didn't recognize.
You had the bacon face, and I ate people. We were a great team.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just happy to be back with my friends and playing and being online again. So thank you.
Well, we're happy to have you back. Thank you so much for coming out of retirement on our account. And we hope to see a lot more of you here on the channel. And next up, Crow, all of your pertinent details, please.
Yes. Hi, I'm Crow. I played Bogan. Pronouncing he, it. You can find me on Blake Slate, twitch.tv/Corvus Crow, or YouTube/Corvus Crow, however that works on there. You can also find me on Twitter, /BS Slate TV. I am coming off of a semi-hiatus. Luckily, Haley invited me to hit up Travis for this game, and also some other people amazed me by Onyx Path asked if they were looking for people for games, so I decided to join on. So it's just been a wonderful time, and I am happy to do this again, and happy to DM.
Well, I can relate, and I am glad to have you here. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time we've had a chance to actually play the word? I think we played in something where we were both players, right? But I don't know if I've ever run anything for you.
I think we've played in something that we were both players. I don't think I've ever played in one of your games or at your table before.
Well, welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed having you here as a player. So I'm looking forward to the shenanigans we will get up to in the coming weeks. And I've thrown a link to your channel in the chat. Everybody, please go over there, show some love, follow, subs, all that good stuff. And last but of course not least, that brings us to Kevin. Your pertinence, please.
Hi, everybody. Kevin R. Zarnicki, he, him. You can find me all kinds of places. A Vampire Called Red, A Vampire Named Red, at Necromancy 101. I am a voice actor, but like one who's SAG-AFTRA for 10 years, so whatever that means anymore. Game designer, mostly Shadowrun, but I've done some work with Travis at both Catalyst and Onyx Path, and the bunch of other stuff. I'm also a teacher. Most of my regular paycheck is pulling in writing lessons and voiceover lessons and networking you into the industry. So if anybody's interested, hit me up, kevin.r.zarnicki@gmail.com. I'll cut you a deal if you say you found me here. Lower them prices.
Onyx Path.
I am still charging less than the other people, and I am proud of that because the economy's borked. And I love what I do. So
well, and it is my understanding is not necessarily the easiest field to penetrate. So you're doing good work.
None of them are, and I'm not as far in any of them as I'd like to be. But then again, my dad didn't love me enough, so it never will be. So what do I know?
Enough is not a concept you're familiar with, right?
Oh, that's yeah. The day after the first novel, I thought, well, I finally feel like an adult. Nope. 40 years old, still waiting to grow up.
Let me go on a small diatribe here to confess something to you, okay? I have had the grand privilege and wonderful honor of literally fulfilling like lifelong dreams during my tenure at Onyx Path. I got to develop M20 Sorcerer, which was a book that in like 1996, I sat around a table with my friends at Denny's and went, I really like the Sorcerer thing, but boy, I have some ideas about how I would do it differently. I got to do it. 16-year-old me is jealous as shit, but you know what? still, like, I got it in the mail. I looked at my hardcover. I looked at my name in it, and I went, "Oh, that's really neat." And I put it on the shelf and went back to work, because you're always like, just a dream coming true. Not a big deal. Got to pay the bills.
Yeah, like Eddie Webb called me up one day at a convention. Is like, I need 5,000 words on K-Tiff, and you're really into vampires. So I'm like, I literally can't go in sunlight in real life. So yes, I relate to them. So and next thing I knew, I was in Lore of the Clans. And I'm like, okay, wrote some vampires, scratch that off the list.
Cool.
Took my childhood player character from Shadowrun, and he's canon now as a Jack Pointer. And it's like, scratch that off. I got 10 more years to live, but Red will live on.
Exactly.
So I totally get it, man. Bucket list items. I just got to get into a shitty anime. It doesn't have to be a good one. I just have to be in an anime, and I'll done what I need to do.
Yeah. I have my one remaining thing is write an issue of Spider-Man. And I was just lamenting online how Marvel won't hire me to write my Peter is off getting groceries and runs across Payspot Pete while he's doing a heist, and hijinks ensue issue. That's all I want. It's simple. I just want to
tell you what, I don't promise a single damn thing unless it's in my hand and I can hand it to you right here and now. But I got some weird contacts, and I have better luck helping other people be successful than being successful.
Twist.
So let me see what I can do. I'll ask around.
Twist every arm you can twist. I would die of joy if I could write an issue of Spider-Man.
See what I can do.
But on that lovely tangent, we have sat here and filled the time tangent. This happens. We go off into various places while we're talking.
We're just all good friends,
Friends getting along. Like, what's wrong with that?
Zero.
Welcome to our joy, Twitch.
This is what tabletop is for. It's for sitting around and talking ideas and having a good time and sharing and storytelling with your buddies. And I recommend those of you who are at home, whether you're watching this live or watching this in VOD, take the first opportunity you get to do the same thing. Get around a table with your friends, tell a story, have a good time, side talk about it, make references to 20-year-old memes about Mountain Dew and dire gazebos, and enjoy yourselves, because that is what we want you to do.
Storytelling is the oldest art known to our species. Sharing it together, that's community. So we're just here being community.
Absolutely. Speaking of community, hang out. I'm going to raid our good friends over at Stolen Fires. So hang out. We're going to send you over to them, show them some love when you get there. Please check out the various sales links that we've shared throughout the course of the stream, and we will see you 2 weeks hence. Till then, please take care of yourselves and each other. Wash your hands, wear masks, get shots. If you've not yet gotten your latest COVID shot, you really need to, because the new one is new. So yeah, take care of each other and
ask Rachel why she hasn't started lessons yet.
That too, yeah. Bug her about it.
Like 9 months. Where are you at?
We'll see you around next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye.